Hulk Hogan has passed away. I didn't know the man who played him, Terry Bollea, but I knew Hulk Hogan. Other fictional heroes, well, they can be recast. Superman, Spider-Man, they live on through new actors, new versions. But there can only ever be one Hulk Hogan. And now, his story is over. And that's sad. Whatever way you look at it, it's just sad. My parents used to say the only time I'd go quiet as a kid was when wrestling was on. And to this day, it still rings true. You can put on some golden generation wrestling, I'm transfixed. I was and still am obsessed with wrestling. Nothing else made me feel the way it did when I was little. I remember having a Hulk Hogan poster in my room. Every morning, 5 or 6 years old, I'd wake up and just see the Hulkster on my wall. Before I'd probably start the day by playing with my Hasbros. Back then in Ireland, at least, wrestling events were rare. The video stores where I got my fix, seeing all the colourful boxes for each event. Nothing felt better than walking out of there with a new tape under your arm. One of the ones I had and got to keep and was very proud to own was Survivor Series 1989. Had a blue top on the cassette. Hogan didn't even main event the show, but he was on the team with Demolition and Jake the Snake Roberts. Just imagine how that team looked through the eyes of a child. It was like watching superheroes from a supergroup just align. Then there was Real American, that song. To this day, I hear that riff and it just does something to me, man. I'm like the Winter Soldier. It activates something in my memory. I'm instantly transported to the end of WrestleMania 8. Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior posing together under the lights. The crowd roaring, my blood pumping. Hogan must pose. And so must I. I think I'm a polite person. My parents want to probably take credit for that, but if I'm honest, a lot of what shaped me came from wrestling. And from Hulk Hogan. The lessons were simple back then. Right versus wrong, good versus evil. You fight for what's right and you don't back down. And you see, with Batman, you knew, well, that was not real. It was a movie. It was a TV show. With wrestling, especially as a kid, it was 100% real. And Hulk Hogan was a real-life superhero. Now, eventually, wrestling got banned in my house. Too many broken beds, too many chipped teeth, too many dodgy tombstones. So every Friday night, I'd go to my grandmother's house. I'd wait for 9 p.m. when Cartoon Network turned into TNT. And suddenly, WCW would be on. And that's where my whole perception of wrestling changed. That's where I witnessed the arrival of the outsiders. They were a mysterious and dangerous group, and they kept saying they had a third man, and revealed to be Hulk Hogan. I couldn't believe it. I was confused. I was hurt. He was my guy. He was our guy. Gone were the training, saying your prayers and vitamins. In came Hollywood Hogan, black and white, the New World Order. He did it all for the money, and it just, it broke my heart. I couldn't process how someone like Hogan could turn his back on us. This level of emotional investment, especially when you're still too young to understand what's real and what performance, it stays with you. Years later, of course, I wised up, but I still look back on those times with so much fondness. The era where the magic was still a mystery. And then came 2002. Hogan returned to WWE and somehow the magic returned with him. WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Icon versus icon. 9 years after his last Mania match, he walked into the Sky Dome and the entire building was transported back in time. Even when he was still trying to be the bad guy. No one cared because we remembered. We remembered what Hulk Hogan was, what he meant. The reaction in the arena, it wasn't just nostalgia, it was something deeper. Every fan in that building remembers sitting in front of their TV, watching Hogan slam Andre the Giant, watching him drop the big leg on Sergeant Slaughter, beat King Kong Bundy in a big blue cage. We remembered our Hasbro rings, our pretend matches against Roddy Piper and Macho Man. Ooh yeah! We remember cupping our hands to our ears and flexing in the mirror. You see, life seemed simpler back then. And for that one night, watching Hulk Hogan again, even just for a moment, made life feel simple again. I didn't know Terry Bollea, but I knew Hulk Hogan. He made me a wrestling fan. And for that, I'll always be grateful.